Hello students. Today we are going to discuss about second tool of a biotechnology, and that is cloning vectors. First of all, let me define cloning vectors. So what are the cloning vectors? Cloning vectors are the DNA molecule that can carry a foreign DNA, that is an alien piece of DNA, and replicate inside the host. They must be replicate inside the host, means origin of replication must they possess. Okay, and such a cloning vector, as a cloning vector we can use mostly as a plasmids. Here you can see this is a bacterial cell. Okay, this is a main DNA component of a bacteria, that is a bacterial DNA, and there is also in the cytoplasm there is extra chromosomal DNA, and that is called plasmid, that is a circular shape. So this is the plasmid which we can use as a cloning vector. Okay, and second cloning vector we can use in the biotechnology is a bacteriophage. Okay, so these two we can use as a cloning vectors in case of a biotechnology. Let me understand why we are using plasmids. Plasmids are autonomously replicating circular extra chromosomal DNA of a bacteria, which we have already discussed in chapter number 8 of standard 11. Some plasmids have 1 to 2 copies per cell. Okay, means per cell maybe a plasmid number of a plasmid may be 1 to 2 copies, and sometimes it is also found that 15 to 100 copies also found in the one particular cell. So it is a number of a plasmid maybe varies from 1 to we can say 100. Okay, and the second is the bacteriophage, that is a high number per cell, maybe it may be present, have very high copy number of their genome within the bacterial cell. So these two are the commonly utilized cloning vectors. What is the main role of a cloning vector? Because what happens when the cloning vectors are multiplied inside the host, here you can see whenever in the bacterial cell, suppose this cloning vector, that is a plasmid, if it is multiplied, along with that a link piece of DNA, suppose we have linked some alien DNA inside this plasmid. Okay, so along with the multiplication of a plasmid, a link piece of DNA also multiplied in the number equal to the copy number of the vector. So by this way we can get the multiple number of alien DNA. Whenever we select plasmid as a cloning vector, it must possess some features. Okay, so now let me discuss about which type of features means plasmid may have. Okay, so they may successfully do the biotechnological tool, maybe act as a biotechnological tool. So here you can see some features required for the cloning into the vector. So these are the four features it must be there. Okay, otherwise what happen, you are means you are performing the biotechnological aspects, you are doing the genetical engineering, but successfully you cannot transfer the DNA. Okay, so which are the main features must be there in the cloning vector? The cloning vector must be origin of a replication, means any cloning vector whenever you are utilizing or selecting the cloning vector, at that time it must possess the origin of replication. This play very important role. We will discuss in next slides in detail. Second very important feature is a selectable marker. Okay, that is also called marker gene. This is a very important feature to isolate and identify the modified organism. Okay, and then third one is a cloning sites. Okay, then D, that is a vectors for cloning genes in the plants and the animal. So we will discuss this all in detail. Okay, so here you can see one example is given, that is a plasmid PBR322. Okay, this is a artificially combined plasmid. Okay, that is from the Escherichia coli, and that is a PBR322. Okay, so here you can see some sites are there on the plasmid, some regions are there on the plasmid. Especially you must be remember, they may also possess, means they must possess origin of replication. So here you can see origin of replication that play very important role during the multiplication of any plasmid. Okay, so restriction sites are there. Here you can see this is the enzyme. This is the nomenclature of the enzymes. You can see SAL1, BAMH1, HIND3. Okay, this is the site from where here a recognition site for such a specific enzymes are present. That's why indicated over here. Okay, this pinkish color region are antibiotic resistance genes. Okay, which may act as a selectable marker. We will discuss in detail. Okay, so this is the antibiotic resistance gene. Here you can see in the pinkish color region. Then ROP, Here you can see this region, that is a ROP, that is a coding for the proteins involved in the replication of plasmid. Okay, so these all are the essential feature must be there inside the cloning vector whenever you are selecting any cloning vector. Now we will discuss about all the features in detail. So first feature was the origin of a replication, that is a ORI. Okay, and here you can see on the plasmid we are taking as an example PBR322. Okay, that is one type of a plasmid which are using as a cloning vector. So here you can see in this plasmid PBR322, on that you can see here this is a ORI, that is the origin of a replication. A piece of a DNA linked to ORI can replicate within the host cell. Okay, so here whatever the genetic codes are present, they are responsible for the replication of a plasmid. It is also control the copy number of a linked DNA. Okay, so for getting many copies of a target DNA, it should be cloned in a vector whose origin support high copy number. So this is very important points regarding origin of a replication. Second important feature which is required in cloning vector is a selectable marker, and that is also called as a marker gene. Okay, why these are important? Why these are essential? Okay, it is a gene that help to select transformant. Otherwise what happen, these all are non-visible. Okay, we cannot see these all as naked eye. Okay, so how we can detect them? How we can detect that the plasmid is transfer or not? Okay, so by using some features we can select out a transformed DNA, okay, or a plasmid or an organism by using selectable marker. So it is the gene that help to select the transformant, okay, and eliminate the non-transformant. So whenever it is required to select between transformant which are genetically modified and which are not. Okay, so whatever is genetically modified is called transformant, and if it is not genetically modified it is called non-transformant. Okay, so here selectable marker play very important role to isolate between transformant and non-transformant. It is a piece of a DNA introduced in a host bacterium. Okay, so this is the Escherichia coli plasmid, in which here you can see this fragment of a DNA is introduced artificially, and that is a tetracycline resistance genes, which is indicated as a pink color. Okay, and second is a ampicillin resistance gene that is also artificially entered. Okay, that is ampicillin resistance genes. This is a pink color. Okay, so by this way we can enter these type of genes artificially, and that may work as a selectable marker. Okay, so let me understand more. If a piece of a DNA is introduced in a host bacterium, it is called transformation. Okay, such a bacterium is a transformant. Suppose here, let me understand more. So suppose this is the recombinant plasmid. Okay, here this reddish color fragment of a DNA is our desirable gene which we want to enter in the host cell. So suppose this DNA or a DNA containing plasmid vector we are inserting inside the Escherichia coli host. Okay, so this is now called, this is not a natural cell, like okay, right, you can understand, because Escherichia coli do not have naturally this gene which is of our desirable gene. Okay, so we have artificially entered this reddish color gene inside. First we are entering it into the plasmid, then whole plasmid we will transfer inside the bacteria. So now this bacteria is called transform bacteria. Okay, the strain is now called transformant. Okay, so if transformation does not take place, suppose that is not every time it is possible that transformation occur every time. Okay, sometime what happen, transformation not occur even after the procedure. So such a time, in such a phenomena, if transformation does not take place, it is called non-transformant. So here selectable marker will help us to identify whether bacterium is a transform or not, and this is very important step. Selectable markers of Escherichia coli include genes encoding resistance to antibiotic. Mostly they are using as a antibiotic resistance genes. Okay, like ampicillin, chloramphenicol, tetracycline, ecanamycin. These all are the antibiotics. Okay, inside the Escherichia coli we are entering the genes which are resistant to such a antibiotic. Normal Escherichia coli do not have such a resistance gene inside their cells. Third important feature which is required in any cloning vector is the cloning sites. Okay, so what are the cloning sites? It is linked the alien DNA, that is our desired kind. The vector needs a single or very few recognition sites. As I told you, a recognition site are the site from where only the restriction enzyme can work. Okay, so here you can understand this. This is a plasmid, that is a circular, and if I want to add some DNA fragment into this, or if I want to enter into this type of plasmid, okay, if I want to enter any alien DNA inside that, I must be cut it down. Okay, so if I want to cut it down, I will have required restriction endonuclease enzyme. Okay, so restriction endonuclease enzyme, if I am working on the restriction endonuclease enzyme, and if I applying restriction endonuclease enzyme on this plasmid, these plasmid must have accordingly the enzyme which I am using, accordingly they must be have a recognition site for such particular enzyme. So let me understand more from using this diagram. This is the diagram of a PBR322. So here you can see on PBR322, BAMH1 enzyme, that is a restriction endonuclease enzyme. Suppose I am using that. Okay, so site recognition site for the BAMH1 is present over here. Then only after that only it must be work. Otherwise this BAMH1 they cannot work on this. Okay, second you can see here SL1. Okay, so site for that restriction enzyme is present over here. In short, it is a very important step that the recognition site must be there on the plasmid which we are using as a cloning vector, because recognition site play very important role. Without that, restriction enzyme cannot work. Okay, so more than one recognition site generates several fragments. So here it is also important. Only one site for particular recognition type of restriction enzyme must be there on single Once restriction enzyme applied on the plasmid, suppose I am applying BAMH1 on this plasmid, or okay, that is a PBR322. Okay, as I apply BAMH1, what happens? BAMH1 will recognize this recognition site, okay, and cut it down. And as a result of that, this plasmid will be cut from here. Okay, so the place from where it cut, okay, so ligation of alien DNA will occur at that place only. Okay, so whatever I am entering means whatever I am using desirable character gene which I want to enter inside this plasmid will be enter over here only. So ligation of alien DNA is carried out at a restriction site present in one of the two antibiotic resistance gene. Okay, so suppose what happen if this is not cut. Okay, if this is not cut, what happened? Tetracycline resistance was there in the bacteria. Okay, now I am cutting this by using BAMH1. As a result of this DNA will be cut it down, and that's why tetracycline resistance is no more working. Okay, so antibiotic resistance gene is not working now, and at that place a ligation of a alien DNA will occur. For example, ligation of a foreign DNA at a BAMH1 site of a tetracycline resistance gene. Okay, here you can understand if I cut this DNA or a gene, okay, what happened? Tetracycline resistance gene itself will be cut, because this region is a selectable marker, and a result of that, if I am cutting by using BAMH1, okay, then BAMH1 will work on only here. Why it is working on here? Because the recognition site for the BAMH1 is present on this region. Okay, so as a result of I am applying BAMH1, as a result of that, what happened? This BAMH1 will cut this DNA which is responsible for which was responsible for tetracycline resistance. Okay, so as I work with the BAMH1, and on the application of a BAMH1, what happened? The tetracycline resistance gene is no more working, and that's why a ligation of a foreign DNA at BAMH1 site of a tetracycline resistance gene in a vector PBR322. As a result, what happened? Recombinant plasmid will be formed. Okay, as a result, finally we are getting the recombinant plasmid. If ligation does not occur, it is not called non-recombinant plasmid. Suppose I am adding here the DNA fragment, which is alien DNA fragment, if I am adding here, if it is happen, means if recombination occur, then I can say this is the recombinant plasmid. And if recombinant not occur, means desired character gene is not attaching over here, okay, then it is called non-recombinant plasmid. As a result of this, you can understand when a foreign DNA is inserted within a gene, okay, of a bacteria, that gene is inactivated. As I told you, BAMH1 is working on the tetracycline resistance gene. It will cut the tetracycline resistance gene, and as a result of that, the gene which is responsible for tetracycline resistance no more working, and that gene will be inactivated, and it is called insertional inactivation. As a result of insertion of a DNA, that is the alien DNA, that inactivation occur, and that's why it is called insertional inactivation. Here the recombinant plasmid lose their ability to tetracycline resistance, and due to insertion of a foreign DNA. Okay, and when the plasmids are introduced into the Escherichia coli, here you can see a transport cell is there. This is a non-transform, in which means transport cells are the cells in which plasmids are incorporated, and non-transport cells are the cells in which plasmids are not entered. Okay, so when the plasmids are introduced into the Escherichia coli cell, three type of cells are obtained. Okay, three type of cells will be obtained. Here you can see this is a transform cell and this is a non-transform cell. And as we culture them on the nutrient agar medium along with the ampicillin, this is the antibiotic, means ampicillin antibiotic we are adding in the nutrient media. And what happen? Ampicillin resistance colony only will grow. You can understand why ampicillin resistance colony will grow, because ampicillin resistance gene is working, whereas tetracycline resistance is not working because it is cut it down. Let me understand which three type of colonies we will observe. So first type of colony we can observe is a non-transformant colonies. Okay, so they do not have any plasmid, and that's why they do not show any type of resistance to either tetracycline or ampicillin. Second type of colony which you'll observe is a transformant with non-recombinant plasmid, but they have plasmid but without recombination. They are resistant to both because plasmid is not a recombinant plasmid, and that's why they will show a both type of resistance, tetracycline resistance as well as ampicillin resistance. And third type of colonies we will observe is a transformant with recombinant plasmid. Okay, this is of our interest, okay, which we have to isolate from that. Okay, so transformant with recombinant plasmid, they will be resistance only to the ampicillin. So here you can see three kind of colonies will be found on the nutrient plate, which is rich with the ampicillin. Okay, so on the ampicillin containing media, you will see three type of colony: non-transformant, where they will show like this. Okay, transformant with the non-recombinant vector, then the transform with the recombinant vector. So out of these three, we have to select a recombinant vector containing transform. Let me understand how we can isolate all three type of colonies. So recombinant plasmids can be selected out from the non-recombinant ones. So here we can isolate between or differentiate between recombinant plasmids and non-recombinant plasmids. Okay, how? By plating the transformant on ampicillin medium. Okay, we have to grow the bacteria which is transformant, okay, on the ampicillin medium. Okay, so why we are using ampicillin only? Because ampicillin resistance is a intact or a active, okay, whereas the tetracycline resistance is a inactivated. That's why we have to grow them onto ampicillin media to check the tetracycline resistance or not. Okay, then the transformant are transferred on a tetracycline medium also. So by this way we can select out whether the transformant have the ability to grow with the tetracycline or grow with the ampicillin. That will be indicated, means they will indirectly say you whether the bacteria transformant or non-transformant. The recombinant grow in ampicillin medium but known on the tetracycline medium, which will indicate that. Okay, so here it is written the recombinants grow on ampicillin medium, okay, but not on the tetracycline medium, but non-recombinant grow on the medium containing both the antibiotics. So this is the indication. So whatever the bacteria or whatever the transformant grow on the ampicillin medium will be sure that they are recombinant, because tetracycline resistance is inactivated. That's why they will die on the tetracycline medium. And whatever are the non-recombinant, they do not have any cutting on the tetracycline resistance or ampicillin resistance. That's why they will grow on both the medium. Okay, that's why they will be deselected, and here this will be selected where whatever the organism will be grow on the ampicillin medium. Let me understand here. So see, this is suppose the recombinant. Okay, tetracycline resistance gene is active here, and here you can see ampicillin resistance gene. Now E. coli cells are transforming on the plate on the ampicillin containing medium, and this is the bacterial colony. Okay, so if on tetracycline medium, here you can see this is the master plate. Okay, so both type of colonies are there, but if you replicate them on a tetracycline medium, if recombination occur, then what happen on the other plate on which tetracycline medium is there, on which the tetracycline resistance type of bacteria will not grow. That show that, okay, what they show that these organisms are not selected because these are recombinant. Okay, and they will die. So recombinant strain which have a tetracycline means they lose the tetracycline resistance, and that's why they die. So only the colonies will grow which have a tetracycline resistance here. So this will be deselected. So by this we can say that antibiotic resistance gene help us to select the transformants. Okay, the inactivated antibiotic resistance gene help to select the recombinants. So inactivated or activated antibiotic will help us to select the antibiotic resistance or not. Okay, so by this we can select the recombinant. So here tetracycline resistance type of a selectable marker and ampicillin resistance work as a selectable marker. So selectable marker work here very importantly because they help us to isolate or select the recombinant and non. Whatever we have discussed up to this is a one type of method of a selection, but what happened, this type of selection method of a recombinant is difficult. Okay, by practically it is difficult to proceed because it needs simultaneous plating on two plates having different antibiotic. This is a time consuming and hectic process. Okay, so to avoid that, so alternative process is also available for us, and that is a selectable marker. So alternative selectable marker containing procedure have developed based on their ability to produce color. Okay, so here what happened, just not antibiotic resistance related result will obtain. Here color change will occur. So it is very easy to perform. So color in presence of chromogenic substances. So by this way, this method is very easy as compared to antibiotic resistance method. Let me understand more about chromogenic substrate method by using this diagram. Suppose this is the plasmid in which we have entered this foreign DNA or alien DNA. So we have to select, okay, whether this foreign DNA enter in the plasmid vector or not. So these are the two possibilities. This foreign DNA may be enter in the plasmid or not. Okay, so here insertion occur, here insertion not occur. So how we can identify that whether insertion occur or not? So if chromogenic substance change the color, okay, in white colonies, okay, means white colonies is found, then it is the indication that this insertion occur, recombination occur. And if this you can see here chromogenic substrate changes color, it's a blue color or a blue color is, okay, so it is indication that recombinant do not occur. In a chromogenic substance method, a recombinant DNA is inserted into the coding sequence which is responsible for beta-galactosidase. Okay, so what happened is beta-galactosidase related enzyme which is responsible for lactose digestion. Okay, so this gene will be inactivated, and this process is called insertional inactivation. As I told you earlier, such a colony do not show any color change and produce a white color colony, and as a result of that we can understand that insertion do not occur, so they will show you white color colony. That is an indication that recombination occur. Okay, in another way, if the plasmid in the bacteria do not have any insertion, so suppose this foreign DNA do not inserted inside this vector, okay, then it is showing the blue colonies. That is indication of a non-recombinant. Here in this diagram you can see some colonies will show you whitish color, pinpoint whitish color, and some are blue. So whatever the whitish color colony is indication that these colony have a beta-galactosidase deactivation, and that's why they are recombinant. So they are selected as a recombinant strains. Okay, and whatever the blue color colony will be rejected because they do not show any recombinant. This is your homework for today's lecture, and before we finish this lecture, let me summarize all topic by using one animation video. So look at this video.
Imagine placing foreign DNA in a bacterium. Will this DNA multiply? It will not, as the bacterium will not recognize the foreign DNA. To get recognized and to multiply, foreign DNA requires some identification sequences or replicon. These identification sequences are provided by a cloning vector. It is a DNA molecule which has an origin of replication and is capable of replicating in a bacterial cell. Most cloning vectors are genetically engineered plasmids or bacteriophages. Typically, the number of bacteriophages per cell is quite high. Therefore, the copy number of their genome in the bacterial cell is also quite high. On the other hand, the copy number of the plasmid genome varies from 1 or 2 copies to 15 to 100 copies per bacterial cell or more. When we link an alien piece of DNA with bacteriophage or plasmid DNA, we can multiply its number to be equal to the copy number of the plasmid or bacteriophage. The first artificial plasmid, which is now commonly used as a cloning vector, is PBR322. It was created in 1977 and was named after its Mexican creators, Bolivar and Rodriguez. Let us now review the main features that facilitate cloning into a vector such as PBR322. These features are origin of replication, selectable markers, and cloning sites. The origin of replication, or ORI, is a sequence of DNA at which replication gets initiated in a plasmid. When a DNA piece is linked to this sequence, it can be made to replicate within the host cells. This sequence also controls the copy number of the linked DNA. Therefore, whenever one has to recover many copies of the target DNA, it should be cloned in a vector whose origin supports a high copy number. The vector also requires a selectable marker, due to which a plasmid is more useful for the cell. Selectable markers help identify and eliminate non-transformants and exclusively permit the growth of transformants. For example, in E. coli, the genes encoding resistance to various antibiotics such as ampicillin, chloramphenicol, tetracycline, or kanamycin are used as selectable markers. Another important feature of a cloning vector is a cloning site, which is an artificially constructed region within a vector molecule containing a number of closely spaced recognition sequences. These sequences or recognition sites can recognize several restriction enzymes, and therefore the vector can be used to clone a variety of DNA samples. However, the presence of more than one recognition site may lead to complications in gene cloning. In the cloning vector PBR322, the ligation of alien DNA is also carried out at a restriction site present in any one of the 2 antibiotic resistance genes, which are ampicillin and tetracycline. Let's take the example of foreign DNA which can be ligated at the BAM-H1 site of the tetracycline resistance gene. When foreign DNA is ligated at the BAM-H1 site, it disrupts the tetracycline gene and consequently the recombinant plasmids will lose tetracycline resistance. Then, the transformants growing on the ampicillin-containing medium are transferred to a tetracycline-containing medium. In the tetracycline medium, there is no growth of transformants. Meanwhile, non-recombinants grow on the medium containing both the antibiotics. Therefore, while one antibiotic resistance gene helps select the transformants, the other one gets inactivated due to insertion, thereby helping in the selection of recombinants. The selection of recombinants due to inactivation is a difficult procedure. Therefore, different selectable markers have been developed which can differentiate between recombinant and non-recombinants by producing a color in the presence of a chromogenic substrate. For example, when a fragment of DNA is inserted in the middle of the coding sequence of an enzyme beta-galactosidase, it results in the inactivation of a beta-galactosidase gene. Due to the addition of extra codes, any future products from the inactivated gene will not work. This is known as insertional inactivation. When the plasmid that has undergone insertional activation comes in contact with a chromogenic substrate, colorless bacterial colonies can be observed. These colonies are also identified as recombinant colonies. On the other hand, if the plasmid in the bacterium does not have an insert of foreign DNA fragment, the chromogenic substrate yields blue colonies.
In next lecture, we will learn two topics, and that is vectors for cloning genes in the plant and animal, and second topic we will discuss about competent host, and that is for transformation with the recombinant DNA. So till that, goodbye.